Hello and good evening. Welcome to another gripping episode of The Last Clue story. We hope you and your family are safe, healthy, and holding your loved ones close. In this vast world, people go missing every day. Some vanish without a trace, some are abducted, and some are never seen again. We've all come across such chilling tales. But today, we bring you something far more unsettling. Have you ever heard of a place where not just a few, but millions of people chose to disappear on their own? Yes, not because they were kidnapped or forced, but because they made the chilling choice to vanish on their own. These people didn't just disappear from their families, friends, neighbors, or the authorities. They erased themselves from every traceable corner of existence. And what's even more haunting is that there's no one to blame for their disappearance. No criminal, no conspiracy, only their own silent decision. A decision to walk away from everyone they knew. Their loved ones, their families, their friends, even their colleagues, and disappear into absolute nothingness. They choose to sever every connection, to start a life where they're unknown to the world, and where the world is equally unknown to them. That's precisely why they decide to disappear. And they aren't alone. Millions take this path willingly. This is the haunting tale of those who erase their own existence. A phenomenon rooted in Japan, a country where this has silently grown into one of the most alarming social crises of modern times. Japan, once celebrated as a technological powerhouse, was even seen as a potential challenger to the United States' global dominance if its rapid progress had continued. And Japan did rise to the occasion. Even today, the world looks up to Japanese innovation with admiration. But this very surge in technology and relentless progress came with an unexpected cost. As Japan pushed forward at lightning speed, it was the people behind the scenes who carried that momentum. With the growth of giant corporations and cutting-edge industries came an unforgiving demand for excellence. There was no place for mediocrity, no tolerance for second best. Only the most exceptional individuals were given a chance to thrive. But this relentless pursuit of excellence came with a shadow. Those deemed the best moved ahead, climbing the ladders of success and securing prestigious careers. Meanwhile, the ones who didn't meet those high standards were quietly pushed aside. A silent divide began to form between the celebrated achievers and those left struggling in their wake. Many of the so-called average found themselves stuck in low-paying, dead-end jobs, or worse, they began to internalize a sense of failure. All the while, they watched others from the same society flourish, leaving them behind in silence. And those who felt left out of this wave of progress began to question their place in the world. They started to believe they had lost the respect of colleagues, relatives, neighbors, everyone who once knew them, simply because they weren't seen as successful or worthy. This unforgiving pursuit of achievement slowly drove many into isolation. With each passing day, they were haunted by the same questions. How do we face the world that sees us as less? How do we keep living in a society where we feel invisible, defeated, and forgotten? That growing sense of loneliness gradually pushed many into the depths of depression. And it's here that the real story begins. In Japan, there's a term that captures this very phenomenon, Hikikomori. This word first emerged in the 1980s, during an era when Japan was advancing at an extraordinary pace. But those who struggled to keep up, who couldn't match the velocity of progress, began to feel like they were being left behind entirely. They withdrew from the world, slipping into isolation and despair. And in time, society labeled them with a single, haunting name, Hikikomori. 17 years ago in Tokyo, there was a 24-year-old man named Naki who worked for a cleaning company. The job wasn't glamorous, but it was steady and reliable. One ordinary morning, he left home for work as usual, but that day he vanished without a trace. He never returned. It's been 17 long years. His family searched everywhere, held on to hope, but no answers ever came. Eventually, they were forced to accept a painful truth. Naki wasn't lost. He had likely chosen to disappear, and he was never coming back. All the signs seemed to lead to the same conclusion. Naki had likely become one of those countless people overwhelmed by the relentless pace of progress, pulled into isolation and despair. In Japan, such individuals were known by a single name, Hikikomori. Over time, it was believed that Naki had fallen victim to this phenomenon. But this raises a deeper question. How do these people disappear so completely? In a society monitored by law enforcement, government agencies, and constant surveillance, how can someone vanish without a trace and live hidden from the world? How can anyone truly live entirely alone, hidden away from everyone for such an extended time? This is a strange and unsettling reality. We've just heard about one young man missing for 17 years, but now let's zoom out and see the bigger picture. According to the Japan National Police Agency, about 85,000 people vanished in 2019. That number climbed to 89,000 in 2020, then dropped slightly to 78 in 2021. On average, around 80,000 people go missing in Japan every year, a pattern that has remained steady since the 1990s. While some are eventually found or return on their own, a significant number simply never come back. Those who vanish without a trace have been given a chilling name, Jouhatsu, which in Japanese means evaporation, like turning into mist and disappearing completely. In Japan, 3 key terms describe these disappearances. Hikikomori describes those who withdraw into deep isolation and depression after failing to keep up with society's fast pace. Jouhatsu refers to those who vanish entirely, like smoke fading into the air, never to be found again. These aren't typical missing person cases like the ones we hear about elsewhere. This is something else entirely. In Japan, when someone disappears, it's often by choice. Even more astonishing is that Japan has strict laws preventing the police from disclosing a missing person's location if they left voluntarily and are not suspected of any crime. This is all part of Japan's strict privacy laws. In Japan, every person is entitled to full personal privacy, meaning no one can disclose information about you, not even your location, without your clear consent. Unlike in some countries where private details can be exposed or reputations publicly questioned, Japan takes a very different approach. According to Japanese law, the police will only actively search for a missing person if there is suspicion of a crime involved or if the person is believed to be a victim of an accident or foul play. If someone disappears voluntarily and isn't involved in any crime or accident, the police have no authority or obligation to step in. They honor the individual's right to vanish. When the missing person is an adult and there's no evidence of foul play, the situation is treated as a personal decision and a matter of privacy. Even if the family desperately begs the police to review CCTV footage or investigate, the authorities will refuse to get involved. The police won't release any footage, provide updates, or share any details because the law recognizes that the person has chosen to disappear voluntarily, and that decision is protected as a fundamental right. This often leaves the police feeling powerless. No matter how heartbroken the family may be, if an adult has left of their own accord, the law stands firmly in defense of that choice. Searching for them, releasing CCTV footage, or disclosing any information would violate their privacy and break the law. Without their explicit consent, nothing about them can be revealed or shared. This is just one part of the story, how it started with Hikikomori, individuals retreating into deep social isolation. When they vanish, they earn another name, Jouhatsu, meaning those who evaporate like mist. But the real mystery remains. Where do these people go? With roughly 80,000 disappearing each year, it's a staggering number. So what is their destination? The surprising truth is that many share one unique factor. Japan is the only country where vanishing by choice is legally possible, and astonishingly, there are even companies that specialize in helping people disappear for good. I visited and said, I want to disappear from everyone I know, my relatives, even my spouse if I'm married, help me vanish. And indeed, such a company exists, known as the Night Moving Company. What's truly fascinating is how this business grew out of a connection to those suffering from Hikikomori or becoming Jouhatsu, people who suddenly vanish like smoke. There was a woman deeply trapped and tormented by her abusive husband, enduring regular cruelty, desperate to break free and start anew. One day, this woman fled her home. As she wandered through different cities, she discovered she wasn't alone. There were countless others like her scattered everywhere. People who had severed ties with the world and those around them for many reasons. Some had faced failure, others broken families, painful experiences in school, or job loss. All of them shared the same desperate need, a place to disappear completely, where their identities could be erased and no one could find them. Gradually, the number of people vanishing grew steadily. When this woman encountered so many people in similar situations, an idea sparked in her mind. Why not create a company dedicated to helping people disappear? Once she launched the business, she quickly realized the scale of the need. It wasn't just a handful of cases, there were thousands. She began openly advertising that anyone wanting to vanish could reach out to the Night Moving Company. The cost to disappear is about 2 lakhs Japanese yen. After payment, clients receive a new name, a fresh identity, a new address, and are relocated, effectively erased from their former lives. Many who use this service relocate to entirely new places, shedding their old lives behind. Countless individuals have begun fresh chapters with new names, identities, and sometimes even altered appearances. Some find new jobs, others enroll in schools or universities. Disappearing allows them to reinvent themselves completely. Because of this company, vanishing has become far more accessible than before. The Night Moving Company streamlined the process, making it easier than ever to start over. When this company first began, many might have expected the law to step in. But in Japan, that's not how it works. The law is straightforward. No one is being coerced or taken against their will. This company only helps those who come to them voluntarily saying, I want to disappear, and they respond, we'll help you. The person consents and pays the fee willingly. Because of this mutual agreement, there's no legal wrongdoing, no force, no abuse involved in the process. Next, the company meets with the individual and offers counseling. They help find a new location, create new identification, and provide a fresh identity and name if the person desires it. Then, they send the person off to begin their new life. In 2017, a senior executive from the Night Moving Company spoke to Time magazine, revealing that out of 27 branches nationwide, 22 are actively helping people disappear. The demand is so high that the company's process has become increasingly streamlined and efficient. Before assisting anyone, the company conducts a thorough screening to ensure the person hasn't been involved in any criminal activity or wrongdoing. Once they confirm this, they agree to help the individual vanish. Helping someone disappear means offering them a completely new life. These people then blend into society, settling into new homes under new names and identities. They don't go back to their former families or communities. Among those who choose to disappear, 2 main groups make up the largest numbers. One group consists of those who have struggled professionally. Remember the intense race in Japan's tech-driven society, where only the top performers thrive. Those who fell short began to view themselves as failures, especially as they saw others earning more and moving ahead. Then there's another group, married individuals whose relationships had broken down. Many couples, particularly husbands and wives, found themselves unable to get along. In Japan, the divorce process is often lengthy and complicated, which can make an already difficult situation even harder for those involved. For some, it seemed easier to retreat into Hikikomori, social withdrawal, and eventually become Jouhatsu, vanishing without a trace. Naki's story fits this pattern. Though he wasn't married, he worked at a cleaning company where he witnessed others moving ahead while his own salary and benefits remained stagnant. Over time, he sank deeper into depression. One morning, Naki packed his bag as usual to head to work, but he never came back. When his brother began searching for him, he uncovered that instead of going to the office, Naki had boarded a ferry on a large ship and had a cabin reserved in his name. 2 days later, it was confirmed that a booking under Naki's name existed for that cabin. At first, his family held on to hope that he had simply left to sort things out on his own somewhere. Since Naki hadn't shown up for work or informed the company, they began their own investigation. Reviewing the ship's reservation records, they discovered he had booked a cabin on that vessel. Company representatives went to the ship to look for him. When the crew searched the cabin, they found Naki's bag, passport, and all his belongings, but Naki himself was missing. The pressing question then became, had Naki jumped overboard and taken his own life? The Coast Guard was alerted and conducted an extensive search of all nearby waters using standard procedures, but they found no trace of a body. They concluded that Naki neither committed suicide nor jumped from the ship. Most likely, he booked the cabin, checked in, left his belongings there, and then quietly slipped away. Yet, even after 17 years, he has never been seen or heard from again. This case continues to haunt Japan even today, sparking serious conversations about how, despite the nation's remarkable progress, there are deeper emotional and societal issues that can no longer be ignored. What happens when someone wakes up one morning, heads off to work or college, and simply never returns? As the days turn into weeks, families are left wondering, have they fallen into the grip of Hikikomori? Have they become one of the Jouhatsu, the ones who vanish without a trace? And will they ever come back? Official government records suggest that nearly 2.5 million people have become Jouhatsu, those who've disappeared by choice. But NGOs and groups working closely on this issue believe the real number might be 2 to 3 times higher. And behind all of this lies some deep-rooted causes. It's the relentless race of life, the pressure to succeed, the constant push to move ahead, and when combined with personal and family struggles, it leads to a staggering average of around 8,000 people vanishing each year in Japan. Nowhere else in the world does a company exist solely to help people vanish. But in Japan, such a company operates completely within the bounds of the law. The government cannot take any action against it because everything is done legally and with consent. A person willingly walks in, pays a fee, and says, "Help me disappear. Take me somewhere no one knows me, where no one can recognize me," and the company delivers exactly that. In return, they charge a fee that ranges from around $1,000 to nearly $5,000, depending on the services needed. Most of the people working in this company are those who themselves once chose to disappear, just like the woman I mentioned earlier. Having lived through the experience, they believe there are many others like them who need the same escape. They now help others live life on their own terms, giving those struggling with depression a way out, not through drastic steps, but by erasing their known identity. They help them vanish, create new identities, and settle them into a different place, hidden from the eyes of the people who once knew them. It's happening in Japan, a country where people willingly erase themselves from their own lives. And that was today's story. That's the end of today's story, by the way. A big thank you to the entire The Last Clue family. That's all for today's story. We'll meet again soon with a new story. Until then, take care and thank you so much.